Princess Celestine. How did you come up with that? Watercress asked Teleost. Was it Basil's idea? I made it up. Teleost shoved a slice of rotisserie pigeon into his face. How did you know to use the excuse of patients being poisoned? And how did you know the remedy? We've all been getting healing lessons while Basil teaches time. Watercress stared at him, dumbstruck. Now that that's over, shall we descend into the marketplace? Brisside asked. I'm going to stay, Teleost stated. This might be the only royal feast I ever get. Just because you all routinely get spoiled with them doesn't mean that I don't want to partake. Is that wise? Anates asked. If I stick around, it might do more to alleviate Yara's concerns than if we take off immediately after he leaves. I'll catch up in the markets as soon as the feast is over. Celestine, what will you do? Brisside asked. I will stay with Basil and Watercress. It will make it more believable if anyone has heard the rumor of our relations. Besides, the High King will expect that I speak with him later. Anates regarded her warily before nodding. Why hasn't the trick with the transportation mage endeared Anates to me? Based on human psychology, if one person helps another, typically the two are drawn closer together and a bond of trust forms. However, it feels like the stunt drove a wedge in our slow friendship. Has Jasper told Anates of my possession? He wouldn't dare. He cares too profoundly to risk her safety. Besides, if Anates knows, then Basil would know, and he hasn't shown any change in opinion. Perhaps Anates has sensed something is wrong. If I had to compliment Anates for anything, her instincts are unrivaled among her fellow humans. Celestine faced a dilemma. She needed everyone to trust her, and Anates made that problematic. I'm getting out of the stone cage as soon as possible, Anates said. Well, if I ever needed to rid Anates from the group, similar trappings might prove successful. We'll see you later then. It's been a pleasure, Watercress, Brisside said. It's been good to see all of you again, and without injury for a change. The master set a fatherly hand on Brisside's shoulder. Brisside gave an embarrassed nod and took his leave with Anates. During the pause in conversation, Time reached for the food tray, but his arms fell short. Teleost moved it closer so he could reach the sour candies. How will you spend your time in Athlia, Watercress? Celestine asked. She didn't care, but she disliked the silence. Likely restocking my ink and parchment. He regarded her with less caution than Anates had, but the constant suspicion aggravated Celestine. You won't be involved in the planning meeting with the generals? She asked, more interested in that answer. I might be called in for one of the meetings toward the end with the other mages, but for the most part, no. Teleost, bored with the conversation, asked, Time, have you had any more interesting dreams? I've only been having the one recently. The one where the gray and yellowish titans are fighting? Teleost asked. Yes, although there's more to it now, Time said. What else? Watercress leaned in toward his grand apprentice. Time looked at Teleost while he spoke. I saw more about the animals. Before the large group of them left, flames enveloped the fish. The owl and the rabbit left to regroup afterwards with the others. Later, a basilisk, a beaver, and a goose joined the group of original animals. Any idea what it might mean? Teleost asked. Time shook his head. Celestine hadn't thought much of it either, but after the prediction regarding Aether's outing as a false archspawn happened, she had no doubt he was a prophet. Still, the meaning of this prophecy was beyond her. She had witnessed humanity receive prophecies that were vague enough to be misinterpreted in multiple ways, often not realizing their truth until they had come to pass. Tentatively, she believed that, of the group of animals to escape the fire, she was represented by the basilisk, and Basil was a flaming salamander. That much was obvious enough to her. As for the others, she hadn't cared. So long as nothing foul were to befall the basilisk or the salamander, she wouldn't care for which of the other animals were to perish. Watercress glanced around the parlor before refocusing on the conversation. Celestine wasn't sure who or what he was looking for, but she eyed him suspiciously upon his gaze's return. They migrated from the cocktail reception into the feast hall. Wyvern chandeliers hung in the feast room. Upon each of the tables, matching silver candelabras spouted the same Crusulian flames. Silver platters and tableware reflected the faint light. The High King ascended a platform that overlooked the feast hall to give a speech. Behind him was a sapphire window in the shape of a majestic wyvern flying upwards. It gave the king a supernatural glow around his otherwise backlit form.
Welcome, Crusaders. Coserai is grateful for your noble sacrifice. You are responsible for the safeguarding of our realm and our faith, and we do not treat that responsibility lightly, nor do we take it for granted. The holy journey ahead of you will prove perilous, but righteousness will fill your hearts and provide you the courage to fight valiantly. So long as your devotion to angelism stays true, your well-being will be safeguarded. Asio, Fantame, Lelila, Hinksuk, Boya, and Losihe will protect you as you defend the spawn, their future angels. Likewise, Ether has bestowed his blessing upon you all, so that you will travel in safety and may spread the feelings of comfort and stability back to the far reaches of our realm. Only with the full might of all our armies will we succeed in vanquishing the threat of the Rhysegli. Only with strong arms and determination from every kingdom can we secure our realm's most precious spawn, and for your sacrifice, they will judge us kindly in death. But if we allow them to perish unaided, then they will have no incentive to spare us. If we tolerate monsters sinking their putrid fangs into the necks of our innocent spawn and their northern relations, then we are not deserving of their forgiveness. If we linger and let them despoil our Sovani and Ferdinese and Wojetan brethren, we are no better than the Rhysegli that are harming them. It is with your arrival that you carry the beacon of hope and redemption for all of us. It will be with your blazing spirits that you will strike crippling fear into the fangs of the Rhysegli, so that they will never steal another drop of human blood ever again. It is with you that the fate of the realm rests.
During the speech, Celestine couldn't believe the High King's false words, so moved the humans. The men and women before him were political pawns. The soldiers outside the castle were his numbers on a muster sheet. All were pieces that could be maneuvered around a stage and sacrificed at his whim. The priests and priestesses particularly bought into the misrepresentation. Celestine seethed internally, but still managed the innocent look of the princess. It was a damn good thing the human body curtailed her demonic powers. Otherwise, her scythe-like wings would have grown to fill the space of the feasting hall, giving her away. The only ones to doubt the words of the High King sat across from her. Watercress and Teleos both scrutinized the words with disdain on their faces. Teleos was doing an excellent job, pretending to be Watercress's apprentice. His performance would have fooled her if she hadn't known better. Based on his vacant expression and flickering eyes, Time was caught in another vision. When he emerged from it, he waited until the High King finished speaking.
"What'd you see?"
Teleos bent closer to Time.
"Out of the castle and the forest beyond. I saw the encounter with the Titans once more. Then the animals grouped up and fled. This time another animal pursued the group. I couldn't tell what it was exactly. It was a fire-related animal. Perhaps an elfin? I was looking from its perspective, and I could see flames surrounding it."
"Can the flames be from the fire raging in the forest?"
Teleos asked. Time shook his head.
"They were separate, and the elfin wasn't responsible for the forest fire."
Teleos drummed his fingers against the black stone tabletop.
"Was the flaming salamander?"
Time shook his head.
What could that mean for Time's prophecy?
Watercress flicked his gaze toward Celestine, as if he expected her to have the answer about who was responsible. She returned a mischievous grin, which seemed to unsettle him.
"I have no idea, but I'll keep him guessing. None of the archangels or archdemons have a flaming companion, so I doubt it would be one of us. But I don't know who or what it would be. An actual elfin? Perhaps her eye was included in the prophecy too."
Reflexively, the idea of an animal companion becoming separated from their archspawn sent a shiver down Celestine's spine. Watercress refocused on Time.
"And it was the White Dogwood Forest."
"The trees were the same,"
Time said. Teleos rubbed his chin.
"Did it feel like it happened soon?"
"I couldn't tell.
Time grasped at his head as though it hurt.
But it felt sooner this time than the last time I had the vision."
Celestine rested her hand against his shoulder blade in feigned pity.
Teleos said, "Given that time has passed since your last vision, I would say that's obvious."
"The visions are getting closer together?" Time offered. "Has that indicated anything in the past?" Watercress asked, like he was interviewing a research participant rather than questioning his grand apprentice.
"Maybe, I don't know. I don't know anything else, that's all."
Time looked at Celestine with pleading in his gaze. Leave the poor boy alone, Celestine defended Time. He has had enough questions. Can you not see they are upsetting him?
I apologize, Time, but don't fret. Watercress smiled at him. More may be revealed to you. Perhaps the closer the event, the better clarity you will have regarding its contents.
Time nodded with a half-hearted smile. Teleos turned his attention to the feast, and the others soon followed. After the feast, Celestine snaked through the castle's dark halls. When she reached the High King's tower, she considered what would happen if one of Dantrima's erosion curses were to meet the point on which the tower rested. The thought of impending destruction brought a smile to her face. She climbed the stairs into the High King's tower and located the monarch in the company of his various ranked generals. "A word, your highness?" she requested in the best impression of the princess's tone she could.
"The High King is occupied, but I need to share a word with you," the vizier interjected. He directed her to a side office, far out of hearing range of the generals. He took a careful seat in a leather chair and motioned for her to do the same. She remained standing.
"Princess Celestine, we must discuss your mother's fervent request to send you home immediately upon your arrival."
"There will be no need for that." She paused and drew a sly smile across her face. "For I am not Princess Celestine." Admonition raised an eyebrow. Unable to release the princess's body, she showed the vizier an illusion of her transformation into her preferred human form without her wings.
"Shall I even guess what has become of the princess?"
She avoided his question. "We have not yet met, but perhaps you can guess my identity anyway."
"A skin changer? Nandiant?"
"No." She added the image of her leathery wings to her illusion.
"Exxon?"
Irritation sparked inside her at the mention of her demonic arch-sister. Worshippers often confused them. At least he didn't guess Otia. We look nothing alike. Your guesses are running out.
"The last was a joke. I can recognize you from your statuary."
She crossed her arms.
"What can I help you with, Cassire?"
Admonition asked formally. She smiled, pleased. "You will not send Celestine home, and you will prohibit your transportation mages from doing so. You will write to my mother and tell her that there is no possible way you could send me back."
"Why should I?"
"You will say there's far too much momentum from the morale boost of my attendants, and the crusade could not withstand such a loss at such a critical point of recruitment. Besides, I'm one of the few creatures in this world who knows your secret, and whom you have no control over. I could tell everyone, and you would no longer be trusted to hold your position. Many seek an excuse to unseat you." Admonition leaned forward with his hands clasped together, resting on the granite table before him.
"I'll do it for a price."
How audacious. Coolly, she probed. "I'm curious what price you would ask of an archdemoness."
"I want the ability to summon you. I want to know the words of your summoning spell, and I want the associated ingredients delivered to my hands personally."
She snorted a laugh. "You would hang a man who did the same."
"Prison indefinitely."
"You would hang him. I'm not stupid. Do not lie to me. I receive plenty of begging prayers from Atlia's prisoners, pleading to escape those hidden cells before they're slaughtered." Admonition surveyed her through narrowed eyes. She pressed. "You'll do this task because I'm blackmailing you, not because we're trading favors. Even if you blackmail me, you forget that we stand on different grounds. You are still mortal, even if you have assembled an amusing little scheme for yourself here. You have much more to lose than I do. The only possession I have left is what I seek to rid myself of." Impulsively, he wielded Mlao's accursed power against her to cause her to decay from the inside. If he had targeted the princess's body, it would have corroded her form. However, he attacked the illusion, and there was no effect. "My being is made of pure, manifested emotion. There's nothing left to rot." Irritated with his insolence, she drew upon her power to curse him. She trapped the hollow man in a nightmare hallucination in which he drowned in the bottom of Mlao's swamp. He tried to escape the illusion, but her magical supremacy prevailed without effort. Once he nearly passed out from panic, she released him. She smirked. "You will do it, and you will not forget who you're speaking with."
"What's your purpose?" Admonition asked. Do you have knowledge about these rumors of the false Archspawn? She paced around the office. My intentions do not concern you, and I have nothing to say regarding the Archspawn. Lau will tell you the same. She paused her stride and sent him a side glance. I might help you in the future, if it ever suits my purposes. How would that situation come to pass? She lifted a peacock quill from the desk and studied it before replacing it. How far humans have come since I walked this earth. I'm waiting on the right moment for something to occur. Admonition dared a glance toward the feather. Something. Something that will change the course of human history without question. It will be a while before I should expect to hear from you again. His tone was surprisingly sarcastic. If I need you, I will call on you. If you answer my call, I will consider telling you my summoning spell. I don't know what you'd want with my curses, though. You get by well enough without them. The mirrors in the hall were a nice touch. Admonition glared at Coseirai's illusion. She didn't care. She commanded the illusion to turn into an adolescent raven basilisk, nearly filling the empty office space. Her serpentine illusion lunged toward his face, with her fangs gaping, and then once he'd defended his face with his forearms, the illusion disappeared. By leveraging her visual deceptions, she remained invisible to all, even those with the sorcerer's sight. She traveled throughout the castle, climbing from one corridor to another. She briefly visited Otia's shrine. Hello, Arc-sister. Delving through the levels, she found herself in the dungeons with the prisoners. She hadn't needed the confirmation of their existence, but she wanted to know what had caused grown men to beg her for their depraved salvation. She stalked around the cages to see if there was anyone worth releasing, but she decided against it. That was Dantrima's arena. Then she came across the healing mage who had interrogated Teleost. It might be entertaining to return the favor. She stalked Yarrow to a side corridor where he met with Admonition. If Admonition can travel here so heedlessly after encountering me, I didn't terrorize him enough in the High King's tower. I regret to inform you that my earlier analysis was wrong. Basil is not the Archspawn. I interrogated him myself. The boy was certainly who he claimed to be, and he fits with the personality Jasmine described. Vulgar enough to slight a low king and a low healing mage. Not a very bright boy either, Yarrow said. Good, that will prevent the High King from pursuing Basil for a time, then.
I admit, based on the evidence you had laid out, it made a compelling case, but I am glad the possibility has closed. We haven't had any legitimate leads from Master Zephyr either. He claimed he found the true Archspawn, but he was lying to get into our good graces. Once Master Zenith checked on the claim that a spawn named
Admonition flipped through pages of his notes.
Aldehyde was the true Archspawn. He learned the spawn had at least 30 rotations under his belt. No one would have believed he was younger than Ether.
Yarrow rolled his eyes.
Zephyr's always been a fool. I'm not surprised in the slightest. I could believe he was either delusional or imprudent enough to trick the High King. Frankly, the only way I envision Ether not being the Archspawn is if the spawn was born without the aid of a healing mage, and then hidden away, perhaps even accidentally, if the mother hadn't had the sight, or known that they had the Archspawn in their possession.
Could a woman be so foolish? Admonition asked. She'd risk death, and for what? No, the heretics are either insane or trying to sow division in the realm while we're vulnerable. That's all there is to it. Ether truly is the Archspawn after all. The rumors will quiet down, and everything will return to normal. It was good of you to question the boy. Your services are always appreciated, Yarrow.
Based on their attacking while our mages were most vulnerable, I would say that would be in their character. If it is the official position that their claims are false, should I proceed in their investigations, or should I finish them?
Yarrow grabbed a fistful of rope.
String them up.
If I could kill that vizier, I would.
I'll make the preparations straight away,
Yarrow agreed. He departed, but the room he entered next didn't contain the prisoners. Instead, the space held some sort of device with lots of little spears screwed into a large wooden framework. Yarrow fussed over the contraption, and she ceased stalking him in frustration to seek out the demoness prisoners on her own. She slipped through the castle's lower dungeons, surrounded by her illusory curse, until she finally found a pair of prisoners, strapped to a table in a separate room, away from the other cages. by the mutilations. She assumed they had been tortured, but she didn't think that their injuries had come from the device Yarrow had been fiddling with. She would have expected more incisions rather than broken limbs. She conjured an illusion of her human form to speak with the man and the woman.
"Sire," the man said, "you grace us with your presence. Have you come to reward us for our faith?"
She ignored his question, but she was pleased the demoness recognized her without prompting. "Why are you here?"
"We came to kill the false Archspawn, but we don't have the dark warlock abilities of Dantrema that the High King claims we do. We didn't perform the summoning ceremony. Our priest ran out of noble Strix's eyes," the woman said.
"Ether is still a spawn," Coserai said, overlooking the rest of the plea.
"Not the one who was promised."
The woman shook her head. "Do you know who the Archspawn is, then?" Coserai asked.
"No. Do you? Are you teaching them your wisdom?"
The man's eyes bugged in his craze. "Fear not. I will. Sleep, young ones. May you find a semblance of joy before your untimely end," Coserai said before setting them under peaceful hallucinations. She left the chamber as Celestine. If she had been kinder, she would have given them an easy end as well, or helped them to escape, but she hadn't wanted admonition to know she had sought them out. If she interfered further, he would likely know it was her doing. She had gotten what she needed from the demonists, and cared for little else.